Hi, I'm Richard Wheeler, and this is Richard Wheeler Works, a Twitch stream and recorded YouTube videos where I work. And today, Wednesday, February 17th, 2021, I'm going to be getting back to another part of a project in the If I Could See What You See viewing party series. If you want to learn more about that, you can follow links in the video description. And in this subsection, little mini series, we've been looking at social media, specifically Instagram posts that are about something called the SRPC. Let me get to that's not what I'm looking for. Hello. Sorry, hold please. Where is it? No, not that. Sorry. Well, SRPC is a surveillance. Geez, I'm trying to remember what it is here, and I'm not finding the. Oh, that's right. Sorry. Hold, please. There we go. I had something minimized there. All right. Technical difficulties. No control room here, people. Just me. Right. That's what it is. It's the SRPC, the Surveillance Reconnaissance Patrols course. Thank you. All right, getting back on it, which is a British Army course for operators who are going to be in the Special OP, the 473 Sphinx Special OP, part of the Royal Artillery. A lot to learn about that. Highly recommend the podcast that I've discovered through doing this research called The Unconventional Soldier. They have an Instagram account at The Unconventional Soldier that links to the podcast, or if you just look in any podcast tool you use, you're probably going to find it. Really interesting. Veterans of this unit talking about its formation and how its mission was designed and how it evolved over time, how the training worked. That's what we're interested in here. How do you learn to be a surveillance operator? What can that tell us about living in a surveillance world? If you agree with that idea that we do. So what have we been doing today? Going through Instagram, finding posts like these, just copying and pasting them into this Google Doc so we have the information, and then going over here to another Google Doc and trying to make sense of it. Now, I've been doing a little bit of cooking show type stuff here, where between our last episode and this one, I've done some organization. And one of the things I've done is taken, you may recall from the last episode that there's this long, like, Ask Me Anything, like, story on Instagram that the recruiters for the STA patrols were doing. And so I took a lot of that information and put it into this document that tells us what happens piece by piece in the training. It's 13-week training, and then what training happens after that, and some stuff about statistics, all sorts of stuff you can learn about the unit. Now, one of the things I did talk about though last time was showing you just a little bit of using tools to extract information, not manually, right? Because all this stuff that I'm doing here is all manual. It's just going through and cutting and pasting and retyping and stuff like that. So there was also, you may recall, these what is going on here? Don't like what it's doing. Something's happening here that I don't understand. Right, so we have these images that were from another post, And these are all just images with text, but the text is not something that you can, if I try to select it, I just get a selection box for an image, right? That's not what I want. What I want is to be able to copy and paste this text out. So I've opened these all up into Adobe Acrobat Pro. This doesn't work for like Adobe Reader, but Adobe Acrobat Pro has, amongst other packages, has OCR, optical character recognition capability. So I have a single monitor set up, so I can't show you some of the things right now. Once I get a second monitor set up, I'll be able to show a little bit more of the dialog windows of opening things into a single document. But basically, those 4 images I just showed you are now a single document in Acrobat. And I have the selection tool here. If I try to select again, I'm just getting boxes, right? It's not really helping me copy and paste the words, which is what I'm looking for here. So I can open up this Tools panel, though, and go to Recognize Text in this file. All pages now, let's see, primary language is set to English, which it is important you do this because you can select a ton of languages, and that's, oh, but this is interesting. I hadn't thought of this, that we can select UK English. That does matter, especially in a context like this where, defense is spelled with a C instead of an S or something like that. So who knows what Britishisms are there. Let's just make sure we catch them. So I'm going to hit OK, and it's doing some things, and it's going through bit by bit, and it doesn't take long at all. You'll see for these 4 images for me to be able to now, well, let's see. Huh. Well, hello, what happened here? I'm not looking for that. Well, now I'm confused. Here I was going to show you a thing, and it's not doing it in this file. Let's do this again. Okay. Something quit there. In this file, all pages. Okay. Huh. Well, I'm stumped, guys. This is typically, this just works, and then you get the text out of it. So something did not go here. This happens very rarely. So let's just open another image here that has text and see if it's going to be able to do that. Let's see, all files. Open this one. Oh, I'll open this one. Can I join straight from phase 2? All right, so let's try this again. In this file, current page, okay. Yeah, all right. Huh. Don't know what happened there. Let's just try opening one of those base. Maybe that was, it was all right. Tools in this file. Yeah, all right. Doesn't like something about this. Your mileage may vary, you know? What can I tell you? So what I'll have to do is go through and just type all this out. I think I might have already done that. Uh, I'm not sure. Oh my, it's not switching either. You're not seeing some of the things I'm doing here. Ugh. Ugh. All right. Sorry, guys. This is, mhm. Right. Sorry. I was trying. So basically, this one that you can see now, I can extract text from, but the other ones, it wasn't working. When this does work, this is a really powerful tool, especially if you have a ton of, I mean, it could be PDFs, it could be images. Clearly, there's some issues about the image resolution, is what I'm assuming, that's making it difficult for the program to detect text. But the ability to, extract text from an image can be a pretty powerful tool. And a lot of PDFs you're going to find on the internet are they're just an image, right? That's not selectable text. So you need to find an OCR tool like the one in Acrobat Pro to be able to really go through it and not just be bogged down in um, endless mucking about with typing. All right, let's get back to the research. Okay, I see what's going on here. So where we are now is that we have figured out a little bit about how often the course runs. We have some speculations. That's up here in this frequency bit. We've figured out who can apply. We figured out phase 2. I've learned here, it says after phase 2, that thing there, do applicants head into a holding troop? One of the things that you find is that there's a lot of phases of a lot of things. Is it phase 2 of this course? Or, here it says, can I join straight from phase 2, capital P? What is phase 2? This is referring to phase 1 and phase 2 of initial entry training, is the technical term, the United States military, for recruits into the British Army or the British Armed Forces, right? Because this is open to all services, tri-services. So phase 1 seems to me, from what I've learned so far, is like what is called basic combat training or basic training or basic or different things like that, right? The initial process to take a civilian and make them a military service member. And then phase 2, from what I learned so far, is the job training, right? It's how to be an infantry person, how to be a mechanic, how to be a signals operator, how to work as a gunner in the Royal Artillery, these things, right? So those are typically separated. There are like situations where it's a single course. In the United States, it's called one station unit training, and that happens a lot of time in infantry and cavalry, I believe, and some other jobs here called military operational specialties. In the United Kingdom, I believe the Royal Marines has the equivalent of one station unit training. The commando course is inclusive, but I'm not sure about that. That's something for another research effort. What we can say now, why that's important now, is that we have understood that this training requires nothing other than initial entry training into the military. You don't have to have any experience other than initial training as a service member in the British Armed Forces to do this training, which is interesting for me because part of what I look at when I look at courses is, what are prerequisites? It's the same in any educational environment, not just a military context, right? Do you have to have done something else? Still don't know what this Lateo Foundation course is. We do know how long it is, right? SRC, don't know when this goes. Is this pre-course as I have it here, right? Sequence pre-course? Or is this part of this 3-week package of, have I got this mixed up? And then we know a little bit about the 13 weeks, and that comes from one of those images we were just trying to understand of, it's a bunch of marching around, not marching up and down the square, but it's a bunch of tabs or marches at least 4 kilometers an hour, with the exception of this first one, which I have marked as 9.6 miles, but really this is I'll put this 10 miler. That was just like conversion there. And you'll see the pace there is faster. That's a brisk pace. 6.4 kilometers an hour, 3.84 miles an hour. That's a little bit. With 45 pounds or nearly 20 and a half kilos, not sure if is this total weight or just weight of Bergen slash rucksack slash backpack. Because 45 pounds in a backpack plus other stuff is a lot to carry. I mean, because, your boots can weigh 5 pounds. Military boots are heavy, right? Anyway, that's all that. Yeah, test week consists of 4 events, the 10 miler, 18 and 22 kilometer personal navigation events, and 44 kilometer march. So that I should probably modify to say this is a personal, right, meaning like land navigation, map and compass stuff. This unit requires a significant amount of map and compass skills and navigation skills because of what their original mission was intended to be. And then there's some more stuff here. So this is interesting, right? This SOP. So, okay, this is 2 weeks of just physical. I don't know if it's beasting. They're just it's just trying to see if you can, what your stamina is like and mental fortitude. Patrol skills, contact drills, patrol. This is a lot of basic infantry tactics. This is just a 1 week down and dirty of that. Then it says 2 weeks SOP training, but I don't know what that is. About. That is something I need to figure out more about. Phase 3 here, but this is the stuff that phases 2 and 3, that's the bulk of what I would be interested in terms of becoming a surveillance operator and understanding surveillance, because the stuff that's about basic infantry skills, that's the part of surveillance and reconnaissance in a military context, right, where you're in a force on force scenario. You're going against an opposing force, and it's not like, so they're trying to kill you, and also you're in a hostile environment in general. May not just be the enemy. There's a lot of factors, right, that go into that, but you're not just gonna. You have to be ready for a confrontation in force, and you may actually have to be an offensive unit. It may not just be that you receive contact. You may have to be an offensive element. So there's a large part of military surveillance training that is under this reconnaissance banner. Look, which is an armed kind of activity, but which is not primarily my interest in this project. I'm interested in the tactics, techniques, procedures of conducting surveillance, because it's about visuality. It's about looking. It's about seeing. It's about knowing through that looking and seeing. So for me, what's interesting is this part that's about setting up a hide site, using optics, managing yourself in a hide site, right? So this 3 weeks of looking here, there, zoom in a little here, might help. 3-week exercise aimed at teaching basic standard operating procedures. How that's different from the SOP training, I don't know. Candidates learn in depth how to employ surface, subsurface, and urban observation posts. Week spent on each type of post. Right. So that's interesting. Right. That we know a little bit. We can dig in a little, and we can probably figure out. Let's see. I have a hashtag up here for observation posts. I was poking around, and this is another one I was looking at. Let's go back. This is the STA Patrols Instagram page. So this here is right. I had seen this before. This is that. So I'm going to go into this now. After completing the SOP phase, volunteers then undertake 3 weeks observation post training. This is further broken down into rural, subsurface, rural, surface, and urban focused weeks. Insertion and reconnaissance of the OP is adapted to suit the urban environment. Construction of occupation deliberate. Okay, so I'm just reading something that you can read when you find it yourself. Sorry. But this is something I am going to find. And so this is an urban site. This is, you can actually see a lot just from this, what they've done here. So they've built a kind of a, it looks like they might have built a false wall, is what I'm seeing here. And there's some kind of scrim here that they're you have employed for that. I'm not sure, but then this black material behind them is, yeah, I mean, I'm interested in what's going on there. How does that work, right? And here's somebody in a subsurface observation post, it looks like. Right. So here we go. These are some, and here's somebody. Oh. Oh, okay, here we go. This tells us a little bit about what is going on. What is this? Sorry, let's. Oh, this is a series. I see. Yeah, so let's. So we looked at this one already. Let's just go at this in sequence now. SOP phase. Alrighty. Go back to our raw. Remember, one of the things that we're working towards is comparing what we've found here to what we can find in, it's called a DIN. Don't know what that stands for. Defense something. Some sort of circular or announcement that zoom back here, that UKMOD put out about this course, right? And so we're gonna, our end goal is to compare what we can do just by looking at Instagram and what someone obtained through an FOI request, Freedom of Information. Okay, got that down. All right, so URL here. Was I doing these as, yeah. Right, I was doing 8 point for the URL of the image. So we got that date of this is 8/28/2020 20200528. Remember, we're going to go back here. We're going to inspect this element. What's going on here? Network. Just looking for this image again. Oh, you know what? It's not. Hold on a second. I'm not doing this. Go to post is what I want to do. It's the same. Yeah. Okay. So now let's try this. Inspect element. Network. Look at network traffic. Because we're trying to find this image. I just want images. Gonna refresh to get it to load. Don't want the Instagram logo. That's me. There we go. And that's the larger one. Save images. We're going to get to where I save things. Oop. I'm saving these things anyway. You're not seeing these dialogues. Interesting. Okay. Right, so save that, and then I'm going to copy the URL and go back over here. And we're going to paste that and make that a link. And I'm going to insert image by URL. Okie doke. All right. So going back to this here, boom, right? That's what we've got here. So that and Don't need that bolded. So there's some confusion here between what's happening when that I see, because this is talking about some of the same stuff. But this just says 1 week, basic patrol says 1 week exercise. Maybe they expanded it to 2 weeks. So, let's see, gonna go back and get this URL. This was 2020-0528. All right, that's pretty useful, I think. Learned a little bit more. Let's see what else we can find. So that was, oh, right, and I was also gonna, let's see, copy out these. Because I had hashtags, all right. What happened there? I didn't copy. There we go. And then selectors are the things that I'm sort of being lazy about. But that's all this, you know, this. And these, this is a lot of the same stuff, right? You know, one of the things I mentioned doing was we're not going to do that quite yet, but to make a grid of all these hashtags, right? And figure out are any used, and make sure that I have a list to go through systematically, right? Because right now what I'm doing is I'm just systematically grinding through posts, right? But that's only part of the view into it. There's also the view in terms of saying, like, well, we have these hashtags. Can we systematically go through that list, right? So let's see here. Go back to that. Let's see if it trolls. Ugh. Interface is terrible. All right, so this would have been the next in the series. Okie dokie. Now we'll break down each piece, right? What I really need here, just do some housekeeping. I really need to just take this. That's a placeholder for the Honorable Artillery Company. Insert, break. Image post. Hashtags. Selectors. Am I doing that with brackets? Wait a second. URL, date, post, hashtag. Okay. You know, some of you may be saying, you really should be making a database. Yeah, maybe I should be making a database. I don't always have the time to make a database. Maybe some of you are saying, you take your time. That's reasonable, right? But like, I also feel like sometimes you can start making a database too easy, too easily, too quickly. Jump into a database. Let's just see what's going on here first. All right. Okay, right. So here we go. So now let's go back over here. Let's do it this way. Open that in a new tab. Loading, 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 loading. So we have the URL here. Date is the 29th of May, 20200529. Image, we're going to inspect this element. Gonna go to network. Images selected, reload. Some of you may also be saying, gosh, can't you just build a bot to scrape all this? Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, sure, we could do that. That's reasonable. I might build a bot for that. I can see myself doing that. There are challenges with making bots, though, obviously. One of the biggest ones is that, Facebook, who owns Instagram and all these other things, they don't want me looking at this like this. They don't want you looking at this like this. Not to be all like wing nutty about it, but this is the casino. You're not supposed to know how the casino operates. You're not supposed to be able to make your own database of things and think about it as you will and make sense of it and make your own correlations or your own connections between pieces of information. You're supposed to just take what the system gives you, right? So for that reason, these systems are purposely resistant to bots and aggregators and other things. So you can go down that road. I've gone down that road. I do that, but it can be challenging as well. It's not like there's zero cost to make a bot to scrape Instagram. That's not trivial either. And I'm still trying to figure out what all this stuff is. And for me, sometimes I feel like it's more useful. The time I would spend programming is just time I'm spending programming. I'm not learning anything about this community, this group, this training. That's my goal. You can get lost in tool building. very easily when you're interrogating these massive data sets, because it's thing on thing. I'm both interrogating Instagram and YouTube and what have you, and I'm interrogating the bureaucracy of this military organization. All right. During the subsurface OP, students will cover the following. Is it subsurface with a hyphen or not? Figure it out, guys. All right. So now we this is now we are getting down to a thing, right? Now we've seen it 3 times. Subsurface with a hyphen, subsurface without a hyphen, and subsurface. All right. So here we go. During the week, we're going to do it like this. I believe this is what it is. All right. Here we go. This is cool. Let's get this reference here. Oh, 529. So let's zoom in again. Oh, now it doesn't like it when I put in a hyphen. During the Rural Subsurface Week, students will cover the following: observation post planning and orders, insertion and reconnaissance of an observation post, construction and occupation of an observation post, routine in the observation post, subsequent taskings from the observation post, and withdrawal from the observation post. 6 items. Is that a week including Sundays? Is this a 7-day-a-week course? Do you get 1 day off? Is this a day an item? If it's 6, you can start to ask questions. Well, how would I plan this? Is this just during the day? Is this day and night? Is there a combination of classroom and field training? Is the field training all out in the countryside, so to speak, or is there a part where you have some outdoor areas that are next to an indoor classroom, and you do some things in a kind of pantomime, and then you go out in the field. Remember that where this is all going to go after you do these OPs is 30 days of exercises, right? Including this summative exercise, FTX, in Scotland. Both rural and urban phase, which candidates are tested on the skills they have learned. And this one is, running and gunning as far as I remember. What was this one? Right. This was this image here. Oh, do I not have? There was a chart that was really hard to read, and I only was able to read parts of it, where I got a lot of this stuff. So we have, I think we're going to call it there for today, because I could go through and do the same thing on above ground, surface, rural, and urban. I think I'll do that offline. We'll cooking show that, and come back and take a look at where we're at. So we've done about, including offline stuff, 3.5, maybe 4 hours of work so far on trying to understand this course. Remember the surveillance reconnaissance patrols course. Been about 4 hours. And I think we know a lot at this point. And we're clearly on the right track, the amount of stuff that's in Instagram. There's also the follow-on training after this. There's the pre and the post, which is also interesting, because it's trying to understand. As I think I was alluding to a little earlier, the drawback of looking at military examples is that there's so much of the military part in it, right? There's so much of the shooting and the moving and the communicating and just the soldiering stuff. But that's, but why put up with that? Why slog through all that? It's because of the accessibility, right? Like, especially in today's environment, meaning everything post-Vietnam. As Vietnam, many authorities, I think, would agree with the end of Vietnam and the introduction of what in the United States is called the all-volunteer force, a move that was followed in many, many militaries around the world. And so, in other words, the end of conscription and the beginning of a world where most, if not all, military service members are volunteers. That created an explosion in openness in some parts of the military. So while in one hand, Vietnam, it was primarily the American experience, but other militaries saw this. There's an increasing control over the press and its access to the military. Because of the amount of freedom that correspondents had during the Vietnam War, the American war. I shouldn't call the experience of the war in Vietnam, where it was the Vietnamese people fighting against America, right, as opposed to the Vietnamese people fighting against France or against China. The Vietnamese people have had to fight against a lot of people for their land. But during the American experience, there were just reporters running all over. And the Pentagon said, we don't want that anymore. So there's much more control over reporters in the war zone now than there was at that time. But one hand taketh away, the other hand giveth. And the military at the same time has vastly increased the amount, of cooperation in movies, TV. Top Gun is an amazing example of that, right? But it goes back to Wings, 1921, the first Academy Award-winning film, a huge military propaganda film. And made with the participation and support of the military. So, movies, TV, ton of stuff gets released there. But you have to sift through it. And then there's also the component of recruiting. And some might say that the military and intelligence participation in films is part of their recruiting, right? Like CIA cooperates on Argo and Hurt Locker for a reason, because it's PR for them, and it's a recruiting tool. People say, "Oh, that's cool. I want to go work there. They do cool stuff." So that's a subset. What we're looking at is a subset too of the propaganda as both positioning for the force and then the country, but also recruiting. And so there's a lot of stuff that gets put out there that would have been completely above top secret in another era only 40 years ago, right? They're, stuff that you would get thrown in jail knowing before. Now it's on YouTube. So that's our world. So we're going to come back to that world next time I get back to work. This is Richard Wheeler. I've been working on Richard Wheeler Works.